Today we're going to be digging back into John's thoughts because I messed up the first one. So, how are you doing today, John?
Good. How are you, Bryn?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. I'm so happy we're back on here a month later. Like you said a second ago, you were the guinea pig, but I
Yeah.
promise you, everything works now. I've already recorded two today, so I know everything works. I
Yeah.
know it.
It's all good. Appreciate it. I'm glad I could be part of this as like the first person. I know we had an awesome conversation before, so my hope is to bring some of the energy back. But I appreciate this is my first like official, you know, appearance on anything. So the honor is mine actually for everything, both the guinea pig aspect and also to be a technically a repeat guest. Although like we're the only ones that know the repeat. So
Technically, but hey, that's okay. You're my first guest and my first repeat guest, and that's all that matters.
yep.
So,
I,
to skip past the tell me a bit about yourself part, I already know a lot about you, but we're gonna let the guests hear a little bit. Where did you grow up, and how do you think it has impacted your life today?
yeah. It's a great question to start off with. And I know you said it on previous podcasts that the last one you're like, I'm doing my homework by the way. The last one you said like, I hate that question, or it's you just ask it's a generic question. You can learn a lot about someone that way, but this one is a bit more specific, so I appreciate that. And so let's start with that. Where did I grow up, and how did it impact me? So I'm here in California right now. So if anyone wants to snipe my position here in San Diego, you're gonna have to sprawl across the whole city to try to find me though. But enjoying the sunny skies finally. And my family has lived here for quite a bit of time. My dad's military, so in the U.S., you travel. Uh, Oftentimes, you're deployed. Your family, your parents are deployed places, and so I traveled with him to Guam and then to the East Coast in Maryland, and then finally we retired back here in California. And this area has a lot of Filipinos, which is my ethnicity, and so I kind of grew up with a lot of those values, those traditional societal values, you know, that I grew up instilled to eventually become a doctor. The Asian. If I was gonna be the tradition, my sister's a nurse, all my aunts are nurses. The kind of the Filipino thing. My dad's Navy, so that's the Filipino mafia. And so I was about to either join the Navy or become a doctor. And so I was trying to do my best to become a doctor, but things, things change and things don't go as you expect. So uh, that all culminated to the point where I started to write online because I didn't want to follow that path anymore. I didn't want to join the military like my dad. At the same time, because of the unique situation with my parents and with Asian families and traditional families in general, like they're not going to kick you out when you turn 18. So I've been chilling with my parents, going to school, taking my time, not really doing my best. At the same time, I'm chasing my thing on the side, and now I've reached a point where I finally quit college to go pretty much full time into this, into writing online. It's been a blast ever since.
As it, that's amazing. I know last time we spoke a little bit, you were just going through the process of actually telling them. So, where are you at right now with your parents?
Yeah, this is a shout out to everybody around our age, especially if you're from a traditional family, to tell your parents, especially Asian people, to tell your parents you do not want to follow the Asian dream, which is like either become a lawyer, doctor, engineer. So this is for all you guys. It's hard, like it's really, really hard. And my like kind of the way I approached it is to wait until I got enough social proof to tell them. Now, what I did was I kind of did out of necessity, where I asked for forgiveness as opposed to permission. That like old adage, and I kind of just did it, and then eventually I explained myself after. And so I'm in that stage where I'm still trying to prove myself, like get enough social proof before I really tell them the full plan. But they just know that I'm not in school right now and that I'm doing my own thing, taking care of myself. So I told them it took while they're out on a trip. By the way, they went to the Philippines, and the first time in a couple years because of the pandemic. And I figured, I should. I don't know why I decided to like maybe I could spoil their vacation. Fortunately, it didn't spoil the vacation. I told them, hey, look, I'm out of school. And then they're like, what? Instead of like them hating on me, thankfully they're more understanding. So it goes to show also our parents want the best for us. They want us to succeed. It may not always be the way that we actually go about things, but they actually want us to win in the end, regardless of what it looks like. I mean, they prefer us to go by their path, but if you can be happy and successful at the same time, like they're not going to care as much, especially if they get older. That's the case for my parents, at least.
For sure. So, regarding that,
Yeah.
I know last time we talked a little bit about Japan, which is where you and your partner want to go. Tell me about
Oh
that. We
yeah.
never talked about why you chose Japan specifically.
Yeah. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Bryn because she's a great interviewer. Remembers everything from the last interview. I don't even remember what I said, so that's awesome. And even in tolerating the first of all, I'm gonna call it the elephant in the room. I'm in the car right now. I blurred the background, but I know you all know that I'm in the car right now. Brand new, I was in a car right now, and I'm like not like my hair looks oily. I have like I haven't showered in like a couple of days. Like it's definitely going down. But I appreciate Bryn for being very attentive because you know this is the possibly the best first podcast experience from someone who has been professional. I messed up as well, by the way, scheduling conflicts, so I'm grateful we're here. I want to give a shout out to Brim because I know you're gonna be watching the future episodes. You're gonna watch in the past episodes. Use this as a testimony. Might as well clip this for X
Thank
if
you
you want
so
to.
much.
Yeah. But Japan. All right, back to it. The main reason why this is kind of like my freedom goal, right? You gotta have clarity of your goals so you can know what you're working towards to work backward from, right? Until I decided, hey, I want to go to Japan, I want to move there, I want to live there with my partner, explore and travel a bit. Until I made that commitment or I set that vision up, I didn't really have like a direction. Now that I have it set up, as well as I've been like really actively working towards it and telling people, not too much, of course, because you don't want to like feel like you accomplished stuff just by telling people. It's a danger of telling people your goals. But I did it in just the right amounts and I kind of teased it and I really like committed to it in my heart and my mind. And now the path became more clear. Like I have more of a purpose to do what I want to do. Like I know a lot of people are writing online or doing stuff online just because they want to build an audience. It's a very vague goal. It's not as clear as say defining what your dream day looks like or what you actually want to do with that money or time. Like if you know what you're doing it for, it's much more you get much more motivation, much more clarity, and much more energy to put towards that goal. And so Japan is a place that I've always wanted to visit. My partner, she lived there for a couple of years. She told me it's amazing. The food's amazing. Places there are amazing. We've always been interested in the culture. Like we're actively learning Japanese right now, and so all those things plus the fact that it would just be cool. Why not? It'd be cool. So all up together, and now we've really like we're pretty set on trying to get there in the next year, at least to visit. I have to get a passport and all that kind of stuff. I have to save up money, do a lot of these adulting things that I still don't know how to do. But by throwing myself into the goal, that's how I'm able to pave the way and actually make the progress. If I didn't decide to do that, I would not even be working on some of the stuff I'm doing for my writing because I don't know where I'm working towards. So that has been hugely helpful for me as someone who genuinely procrastinates and is lazy most of the time.
For sure. I know you're a napper. I think last time we talked, you were like, "Nope,
Yeah.
I'm ready for a nap," and I was like, "I
Yeah.
completely get it." So in regards to like, um, freedom, what does freedom look like to you?
Yeah, asking a lot of good questions. So freedom, I talk about it a lot. We all talk about that we want freedom, but we don't like actually specify or define what that actually is. For me, it's being able to spend my days, every individual day, in the way that I want to. So specifically right now, that looks like doing my writing in the morning, write my deep work, because I enjoy it. You got to enjoy the work you do. And then training in the afternoon, and then hanging out with my partner in the evening, whether it's traveling about, eating good food, like going out to eat. That's pretty much the day I want to spend every single day. And of course, the pockets of time, like indulging hobbies, because I enjoy breaking as well. So that's it. Like it's just every day I get to do what I want. And the good thing is what I want to do is align with what I'm trying to make money with, what I'm trying to be free with. But also just have space to do stuff like I want to travel. I want to, train on a regular basis and not have to worry about like family obligations. That's a huge thing. I know Bryn, you are out of your parents' house, and so like you get to enjoy both the pros and cons of living alone, whether the stress is, but also like the ability to choose to do whatever you want with your time. That for me is something I'm trying to reach towards. I'm trying to get to that next level of problems basically to have. So family is a big side. Um, Money as well. Like if I want to eat out with my partner, we have to like really like pinch pennies so far. I mean, it's California also. Everything's mad expensive here. So there's that aspect. Those are the two main things on top of my mind. And then all the others will follow, like the whole traveling aspect. That's something that I like want to do, but never really had the chance to or really push myself towards. So that's what freedom really means to me. Everyone is different. Like everyone is not going to want to just chill around and write all day or like train. They might want to travel a lot more extensively. Like I'm not that big of a traveler, but I'd love to visit different places and like settle for a little bit and move on. Maybe someone wants to. Maybe their idea of freedom is they want to just like go places like every week or two. Like I know someone who does that, and or maybe they just want to laze around. Like they just want to like chill, or maybe they just want to like focus completely on a hobby that they've neglected because they had to work so much. Like you never know. So it's good to define what that is for yourself. And for me, I know what I don't want. I know you're worried about this too. I know what I don't want, which is the family stuff. Like I don't want to be held back by family, don't want to be held back by finances, and then from that I can figure out what I do want.
Yeah, absolutely. Anti-vision, I think, is a great place to start, especially as
Yeah,
a beginner. I think it's
yeah,
one of the best starting points.
yeah,
Um, so you've stepped away from X a few times now.
yeah,
How is the entrance back? How are you feeling?
yeah. And Bryn's ready to expose me too. Like, and I'm ready for it. I've prepared my statement. Uh, Actually, not really. I'm gonna go off the cuff here, but I definitely learned a lot of lessons. I'm a pretty like manic person. Like I kind of flip flop on a lot of different things. It's a pro and a con. Like with pros, I'm always thinking about different ideas. From a writer perspective, to have all these different ideas and to be able to explore different perspectives and be eternally curious is a good thing. But of course, in the long term, the lack of consistency is not very good. And so every time I move away from X, I kind of regret it, and then I come back, right? And I kind of basically restart from zero. So with the whole X thing, for those who don't know, I've quit X about 3 times in the course of 2 years and come back, like kind of restarting. And I would take about a month or two break in between. And of course, as you know, like if you take a break like that, you're going to lose some progress. Everyone needs to take breaks at some point. But the way I took breaks was I pretty much burned bridges. Like I would delete my account to prevent myself from going back because I was focusing on something that was more high leverage for me at the moment. At least that's what I thought. Like I thought it would solve my problems, but it didn't solve any problems. It just made me regret. So you know, learning main lessons from that is that quitting does not solve my problems. Basically, like quitting X did not bring me any specific clarity as opposed to just like I regret quitting X. And I have the same problem with friends as well. Like I'm a pretty all or one person where I go all in ideas, but I also go all in on systems and I go all in on commitments. Like I almost cut off some of my close friends because I was like, I'm gonna go all in monk mode on this. This was like a couple weeks ago or last month when we had a call. Like I was making a decision. And I realize now that that's not necessarily the answer. So, for most cases, quitting is not the answer. If you can negotiate ways to lessen the workload, or you can like find alternatives, or pivot, even better, pivot. That's a much better option as opposed to just burning bridges. And especially when it comes to relationships, where I've used X as a networking tool to meet people like Bryn. Like you're seeing me because you know Bryn. So this is really cool. You can't just quit people. You can cut toxic people out of your life for sure, like if they're really toxic. But I mean, Bryn is not toxic. I can tell you guys that. And I'm sure most of the people, creators, like genuine creators you see on X, there's a lot of us. We're all trying to make the dream happen, not toxic. So quitting did not serve me. Whether it was this, I quit an internship as well. The only things I actually, I'm glad I quit actually was school and my job because I was able to do more of what I wanted to, which is the whole online writing. But quitting relationships, quitting X specifically, was not a great move. I can say that on statement right now. Elon is not paying me for this. I can say this that if you are looking to meet awesome people, not even just build an audience, X is a great place to be. Um, yeah.
For sure. And you mentioned pivoting. Are you pivoting your fitness offer into email writing specifically for your clients, or are you going to keep your little fitness thing you got going on?
Yeah, that was a good transition. That was a really good transition. Yeah, so I tried before. I'm trying to make this less about me, by the way. So let me know. Stop me anytime if you have any specific questions. Trying to figure this out myself as well. But at first, and this is the journey of every person who builds online. You try a bunch of things and it fails. In fact, if this is your first time building something, I can almost guarantee you that like you're gonna like not. This is not like your final iteration. Like you're going to go through 2 or 3, maybe even 4 failed business like options before you really figure out your best fit. So this is probably my second or third option offer, which is I was doing a fitness offer where I was trying to help people. I was trying to people with sitting pain, right? They were like people who work too much, sat in chairs, and had like neck pain or back pain. That was my offer, like for mobility. Someone else, there was only one other person that I know for sure who was in the space doing that, and so I was like, okay, there's a market for this. And most other people were trying to help overweight people or like dads lose weight, that demographic. I didn't see myself in that spot, so I tried doing that. And then I realized it's something I really wanted to do. Like I don't have the experience, and that's not something I was willing to really like go get the certificates for or really try my hand at it. So I pivoted over to emails, which is I had some success with before. Like I did cold outreach, I wrote for some emails for people, and it worked out for me. And my takeaway from that is that you have to try a bunch of different things and then double down on what works. because you never know what's going to work. And once you do figure out what works, you don't need to really try out too many other things. Like go into that. It's not gonna be the second or third one. It could be the fourth or the fifth option. And for me, thankfully, like I found emails thanks to a copy mentor, and it's been the only thing so far that I've been truly consistent with from a business perspective. Not X or anything like that. Even social media. I actually, as much as I think X is a great tool, I'm actually not a fan of social media. Like I've never used social media growing up. Now you won't find me on Instagram. You won't find me on TikTok. My coworkers used to bug me about it all the time. I said I am not doing that. I opened an Instagram account in high school, posted one thing, completely regretted all my decisions in life, and then shut it down. That was my experience with social media until now. And so X, I was like, oh yeah, X, no one knows me. No one's gonna find me X. And it's true, no one found me on X so far. I was like, that's a good thing and a bad thing because obviously I want to grow my audience. But um, where's it going with this? Yeah, so emails though is the only thing that I was consistent with, not just because emails I find to be a very simple model to go with and everyone needs it, but because it works for me. And I only worked that way because I tried out different things. I know, Bryn, you tried out many different things as well. Like you've experimented with a lot of different things, and you're probably still maybe searching for your exact offer. Maybe you're already seeing success with something. And actually, let me flip it over to you. What is your experience with trying to find your own offer? And do you think you found it yet, or you're still trying to figure it out?
I'm building it right now. I now have a mentor and everything who's helping me actually
Awesome.
build one. So it's going again. But I mean, hell, I'm making a podcast now, which is not something I thought I was going to start 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I've tried the copywriting, I've tried the ghostwriting, I tried the 5 day like email courses or whatever they're
Yeah.
called. I've tried everything. I've done Facebook ads. I've done all of this copywriting. I'm like, okay, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
And then it reminds
Yeah.
me of I read your newsletter or emails. I don't know what you want to call it now because you
Yeah.
called it a snooze letter. So we're gonna get into that.
Oh,
But
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
I read it and I was like, yeah, like it's very true that like daily emails, um, if you enjoy them, are great. And so switching it back over to you, um,
Thank you.
are you positioning yourself into doing daily emails or like completely against newsletters, which I think is a great copyright? But tell me a little bit about like your email journey and how you found it.
All right, all about my email journey. And disclaimer, I did not, come up with the term newsletter. I think I stole it from someone who stole it from someone else. So it's a term that's circulating within email marketing guys. But my journey into email, like I mentioned, I got into email because of my copy mentor. And so I've gone to the point, it took about a month and a half. Everything takes longer than you expect. Like I was told, hey, if everything goes out well, you can make your first 1.5K in like a few months, and then you'll be able to get your 3K and then 5K in like less than 6 months. And I still think we're probably gonna make track on that. In fact, I just pitched myself to ask him, hey, look, like what's the actual timeline? And we both like have come to the conclusion, like even for his agency, it's gonna take longer than you expect. So everything takes longer than you expect, especially in business. I mean, money favors speed, but sometimes we're not fast enough. Like like you just never know what's gonna come. We're learning a lot of different things. Obstacles come up, so I'm still taking my time there. But I learned that I want to do email because of him. He copy chiefed some of my emails. I started writing some emails to his list. Got and took some courses of his, and I really like sold myself on it. Like I really like drank the Kool Aid of like email marketing is like the best. And so I can give you many reasons why I believe email is an amazing tool, especially for beginners to try out, see if it works for you or not. But I also recognize it's really like what works for you. It really is what you enjoy. Like I can preach email is the best for you, but I'm an email guy. So like obviously it works for me, it might work for you. And that's one of the dangers when you go online and you find out all these people um, that are like, hey, you could be a ghostwriter, you could do this. And sure, you can do it. It's just you just never don't know if it's for you or not, and you have to go and you have to make the sacrifices, make the mistakes to figure that out. So for me in email, I tried a bunch of different things, fell into that because of the mentor, started writing to his list, started taking his courses that he gave me. And compared to other stuff that I wrote Instagram captions before, I did write newsletters, which I still do enjoy. But like Instagram captions, SEO articles, those things I didn't have the patience for. It didn't work well with me. So emails are where it's at for me right now, and it's what I'm looking to scale.
Yeah, for sure. And regarding taking his courses and everything, tell me a bit about how you think you've grown with copywriting and everything like that.
Yeah. So email copy is very specific. It's direct response, but also very bite sized. So it relies more on, of course, conciseness. So really good emails are like 100, 200 words. It's so short. But to get to that level, it looks easy, right? Oh, I can write a 200 word email. It's so easy. It takes a lot of effort. Like it's a lot of work. Copy mentor, you would tell me, like, oh yeah, you think it looks easy, but you have to spend like you when you start writing emails, it's actually a lot longer than you think, and you have to shorten it down, make it as concise as possible. That's craft. That's mastery. And so copywriting for like there's other types of copywriting you can do. You can do website copy, you could do sales letters or VSLs. So it's like really like, hey, look, like you click on like an ad and it leads to this like huge headline, stuff like that. Like it's targeted towards older people. There's that type of stuff, but I find emails to be really good, and really easy to do. Like you can write one in 30 minutes and practice writing one email a day every single day. That's how I got better. My email copywriting journey is essentially I took these courses which helped, but ultimately what I did, write one email a day every day. You do that. I've done it for the last 2 months. Like I mentioned, it's the only thing I've been consistent with as someone who's incredibly inconsistent and lazy. I was able to write one email because all it took was just 30 minutes. And if you do that, you get better emails. You can start offering it to people, and you get better with more data when you actually start working with real clients. But as far as like basic writing ability, one email every single day, even if it's a crappy email, you get the chops for it, and then you start to pick up some of the language. I also started hand copying as well, which I have no idea if it actually works. People tell me it works. I trust them because they're making more money than me. So I'm like, why should I not? Why should I doubt their science? Their bro science. But
Yeah.
uh, those are two main mechanisms. The courses really help me learn the ins and outs of the technology and the marketing scene. But if you actually want to get good at the copy itself, it's all about writing. And you have to write an email down on your own. And if you work with clients for free and help write their emails, the data is what matters the most. Like the list response to different types of copy. Like what you write for a health list is different from what you write for a biz op list. And so I'm in that stage right now where I'm actually putting all this practice to work, and I'm starting to see what actually is working in the market or not.
Yeah, for sure. And regarding writing emails, when you first started, did you just write about random things or for your own list, or did you write it for
That's
people?
an amazing question. Yeah, that's an amazing question. In fact, if you don't have a list, which I don't have, I'm starting to do it now, and you don't have a product, which I don't have, people say you can try writing for other people's products, like using them as an example, which I found useful. But I think it's a waste of time, honestly. I feel like I don't want to make up like a random thing for someone's product. I feel like it's kind of weird. So my actually recommendation is actually just still do that. Still do that. Still write emails as if you were someone else, or promoting their stuff, or promoting a random like insert an offer here, insert a coaching service here, like just a random unnamed thing. And while you do that, reach out to people and say, hey, like I'll write for you for free. Because I find in my experience, like I spend too much time trying to worry about practicing my copy, when you don't really need to do that. You could practice for sure to get better, but the best practice is actually writing for them, like writing actually for them. And if they're willing to test it, even better. So once I actually got like a few like clients, whether it was from my mentor who's the agency owner or people that I reached out to personally and started writing for them, I started to really, first of all, you have the accountability, like they're expecting it, but also you actually have a real product, you have a real voice you can follow. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to practice when you don't actually practice, you actually write for clients.
For sure, 100%. And in regards to X, what are your plans for creating an offer and are you like things like that?
Yeah.
What are your plans?
It's changed a lot. I've realized that the one thing that I was good decent at was like the whole like I'm a b-boy, so I mean I'm not a b-boy specifically. I don't want to call myself that to be pretentious, but like I do break dance, like I break. and And so I was like, I learned the windmill. It took me about a year, trial and error, to learn the move, and I'm trying to teach it to my partner right now. So I thought, okay, hold up, I could probably teach this to people and make some money off of it, like the cold coaching thing. And I realized, like on X, maybe the market's not necessarily there. Maybe on IG or YouTube, it's a lot better for that type of stuff because people are doing that anyway. And so on X, what can I do? So I thought, you know what? If I'm gonna go double down on the email thing instead of start something new, I'll use X as a way to network with people, which I already enjoy doing anyway. It's one of the things I'm decent at. And not necessarily to build an audience to build like a crazy offer, but just to find clients and meet people to eventually write lists for. So I'm trying to focus on promoting more of my service, which is email list management and writing emails for people, as opposed to like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to be an email copywriter. Because that's, by the way, that's disingenuous. I'm no like crazy guru. I'm trying not to be a guru. My mentor brainwashed me to not become a guru because he's like, I hate gurus. I'm like, I don't want you to hate me. I'm not going to do that anymore. Some people it works out, like the whole like, I'm going to help you grow on X. And by the way, I tried doing that too, and I failed, which is why I don't like it. Like the winners get to write the story. I lost, so now I'm like, yeah, I'm salty. I don't like this. Like, screw all you guys who promote growth or whatever like that. So maybe my opinions will change there. But for me, X is a networking tool. I know a lot of people, by the way, if you're thinking of writing, I know a lot of people are moving to LinkedIn. I saw an email from someone who used to do ghostwriting for X, and they completely switched over to LinkedIn because they couldn't like it was harder to get results. With X, it's more of like I make deep friends connections. It's not like it used to be before, where you could go super viral and like just make tens of thousands of followers overnight. It's still possible, but it's harder compared to like other stuff. And the algorithms continuing to change. So my X plan is just to focus on networking. And if you're also doing a service, like if you're trying to promote like a freelance service, I hear and I believe that a good path is to document the journey in public and then just to make friends along the way, as opposed to just I'm trying to make an audience or build an audience, grow people. Because to me that screams too much like growth guru stuff. Although if I can get it, that'd be cool. I'm not gonna hate on if I get it. If I don't have it, then I'll be like, yeah, like I'm gonna put myself on the high horse and be salty about it.
Yeah, it reminds me of building in public, which has become like a really popular thing amongst the X
Yeah.
space. Um, do you plan on, as you network more, do you plan on doing the grow in public thing as you get clients?
I'm definitely going to live stream a lot of what I'm doing. In fact, that's what I think I'm going to write about right now after this, is to a bit more what's going on behind the scenes. Because I just was able to sign or sign, but really just work with someone via cold outreach. I just pretty much worked out a deal where I'm going to be writing them 3 emails and a newsletter, turning them by next week. They're going to go on vacation. They're going to see if they like it. We can probably work out something. I might get paid, so who knows? It's a huge feeling. Making your first dollar online, like legitimately, is one of the craziest things in the world. It's like so different, especially if you come from like a middle class, lower middle class family like me. It's like I can't believe this is possible. Like I live in the future, and it's very very possible. In fact, I'm blinking right now, and this is blink. Some e-guru just made like 100,000 by selling their own offer on the email list or just making a bunch of TikTok videos. That's how crazy it is. And I'm like, why can't we have part of that? So um, I do plan, like, I would like to grow, of course, and eventually I'll try to like engineer a strategy for that. I'm gonna try to plan to post on both Twitter and LinkedIn because my offer is specifically, I'm trying to network with you and then eventually maybe write emails for you. Um, but I'm not too focused on that. Like, I'm not too focused on the algorithm. Right now, it's one step at a time. If you've never posted on X before, don't worry about growing. Just worry about like opening the app first of all regularly, and then focus on just posting one bad tweet and then engaging with a few people each day. Because my mistake is I keep scaling up way too fast, burn out, and then you quit, and then all that progress is gone.
Is definitely the realization of it's a slow journey, not like an
Yeah,
overnight journey. Yeah, I had a guest on the other day, Reese, who was like, I work for 4 hours a day. While I could do more, I only do 4 hours a day because I'm building a business and it doesn't happen
yeah.
overnight. It was awesome. Um, in regards to, I know you have your mentor and everything, but outside of your mentor, what other books or courses or people do you currently admire on your writing journey?
A lot of my head is filled with email marketing guys like Eddie Kwan, um, Ian Stanley, a lot of these like really like emo guru type guys, and that's because it's the world I'm trying to get into. As far as specific creative like books, I don't read too many books. I'm reading the Copywriter's Ad Book right now, Ad Week by Joseph Sugarman. That is a classic that I hear that everyone should read. So you take it from me, take it from my mentor, take it from every other copywriter around it that touts that as like one of the Bibles of copywriting. Those are great resources to start. But honestly, I don't have any specific resource besides like just taking like getting into it and making mistakes. Like you have to rush the process of making mistakes. Like not rush the process, but you want to speed up growth. You have to speed up the amount of mistakes you make and how much you learn from it. Because there's no better book or mentor or teacher. Like they're giving me advice, right? But I'm not actually learning anything unless I actually put to use. And by putting it to use, it doesn't have to be completely nebulous. I'm someone who reads information, consumes a lot of information, writes on notes, but used to never take anything away from it, including books. So if that's your problem, then like no matter what teacher you have or books you have, then they're not going to make much of a difference. By in the space of in a specifically a business, by getting trying to get your first clients soon, like just people that will eventually like that who are interested in your offer or something that you're interested in, and actually work with them directly. That's the best teacher. And and even before that, like that sounds hard. That sounds insanely hard. This is the message I want to tell everybody. It's so hard to actually take action on these things. And for me, I'm also partially anemic and going through mental health stuff. Like I'm much better now, but I went through dips. The only way that I figure it out is to really start small, to have to start to ease in, no matter how tiny, and then do that consistently. So every day, like for X for now, my goal for X, I'm not trying to go focus on it, but I'm still trying to maintain it, is just to write one tweet a day, a few engagements on my notifications, maybe send it in. That's it. You don't even need to start that much. This sounds completely nebulous to you. Just open the app. Like just do something small, do it consistently, and eventually scale it over time. That will help you not only make mistakes that books will never teach you, but it will help you apply what you learned from books. This sounds like crazy, like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do just one push up or floss one tooth, which is like typical examples. But really, that's how you get there. Like, I started by just doing a freeze a day, and now I can do windmills. I'm doing head spins. I'm going to start doing some more, probably record some of it. It all starts with that. It starts with the action, and then you make mistakes, you learn.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you've been pretty open about your mental health and everything, and what's helped you the most going through your ups and downs?
Now, everyone is fortunate enough to have a super supportive partner, but my partner has been through with me the entire time. My ex, when I was in high school, it was too much, and I put too much upon her, and I was less stable. I'm more stable now, but still going through dips. And my partner, the past 3 years now, has been through every single one of my crises, has supported me. So I'm super fortunate for that. That's one. If you can find someone like that, even better. But you don't have to rely on someone like that, because I know, for all the people's trying to find a decent partner, you have to become a good partner before you can find one. Habits have been my saving grace. I have a love-hate relationship with habits. I would, get obsessive about it. And strange enough, I still find myself inconsistent many, many times. But having those practices that I can stick to, routines, morning routines, evening routines, things that are just so tiny, like super, super tiny when I don't feel good, those are the stabilizers I need. And of course, now I'm going to therapy. Like, I'm starting to see it. Right now, it's just like, we're kind of getting to know each other. But I know in some time, like, that's like one of the very important things that everybody should go through, especially if you're going through stuff like this. I know a lot of guys don't want to do it, but it's important. Like, I believe it's important. I believe I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get some help if I do it long term, because it's good to talk about your feelings. Like, this is like a form of therapy for me, a therapy for my business, therapy for my mind. I'm not paying Bryn for it, so thank you, Bryn, for offering this guy. This questioning and asking even this enough is so many people I feel like don't even have that. And now I sound like a guru. I sound like an influencer, like a motivator. So many people in our society, So, but yeah. So the main things, takeaways: having a supportive partner or just someone in your life, just one person who can help you. If you don't have like that, anybody like that, no worries. You can get there by instilling tiny habits that will help. And after that, you're consistent with the tiny habits long enough. Eventually, if you can get it, therapy is extremely helpful.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for saying like the whole like questioning thing and everything. I don't think people ask enough questions anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it's so big to just ask the uncomfy questions. Nothing's
Yeah.
uncomfortable. You only have to make it uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Kind of transitioning as a kid. Was there anything you oddly enjoyed, and if so, do you see that in your day-to-day routine anymore?
So Naval Ravikant has this idea that if you want to figure out what your, I don't know what he calls it again, but like what your, I don't know, purpose or specific strengths are, you look to your childhood. Ask your mom what you were good at, what you're obsessed with when you're younger. You can generally get a good gist of it, because by the time you're 20, you have all that experience that you can't really match very easily, because you spent as a kid unknowingly all this time on it, and you kind of were drawn towards it. As a kid, I spent most of my time on a laptop. So most of my time playing games, emulating games, hacking is a lot of things, what I did as well. But in general, I just really spent a lot of time in my mind. I was thinking up a lot of stuff. I was reading a lot. I was really engaged in my imagination, always coming up with ideas, which is not surprising why writing is one of the things I've stuck with. If you also want to know what what you're kind of acclimated towards, look at what you're doing right now as well, because if it's something similar to what you did as a past, as a kid, that means it survived all the bumps in your life. And if it survives all the bumps in your life, there's something special over there. So all these ideas that I think about is kind of translates over to my writing. I'm very technological. I didn't become a coder, which is a possible potential path that I could have gone down. But I did spend a lot of time with software and spend a lot of time tinkering and just really going through ideas. That's the one thing's for sure. And I was also a very active kid, which is why I like breaking. I move a lot. Not all of those things that I did as a kid will translate over to my eventual career. Like email specifically is one of the things that I know is profitable. Being able to do head spins is not necessarily profitable. I'm not going to be making like $100 every time I spin. But they all can move towards a bigger picture. And for me, it was thinking a lot. I always thought about ideas. I I was always moving around. I was always on my laptop, so it worked out because now I work from my laptop.
Yeah, and it's funny that you actually mentioned the Naval, not quote but quote or
Yeah.
reference. That's exactly where I got the question from because it's what's helped me so much on this journey is like asking my parents what I enjoyed. Of course, their answers sucked in the beginning, but it was like, okay, wait, that makes sense. But yeah, that's great. And regarding breaking, like, how did you get started with breaking? Like, why breaking?
Yeah, thank you for asking about my hobbies and passions. I don't ever get the chance to talk about this, and I know only 1% or even less will be able to relate, or if they're interested in. By the way, if you are, just reach out to me. I'm always willing to talk about it because I don't know anybody besides my little brother who breaks. Also, partially on me for not expanding. But I'll keep this brief because I know we're coming up on time. Breaking is a very West Coast Filipino thing. Like a lot of people, that's what I hear at least. I haven't met
Really?
that many. Yeah, so like I mean, breaking is everywhere around the world, especially with the rise of events like Red Bull. It's becoming a global and worldwide thing. I know the Olympics are about to happen as well, so I came at the right time. I'm basically like cashing in on Bitcoin before we got popular. That's what it feels like right now. Breaking. So if you want to get in on this, this is like Bitcoin, but like for like coolness and sports. Um, but I got into it because my older brother got into it. I mean, a lot of Filipinos, that's what I hear, are into breaking, especially up north from where I'm at. And he didn't really teach me. He just kind of kept it around. And eventually, after he moved away, I kind of got into it on my own as I grew up. Because, like I mentioned, I was going through a rough time. I wasn't exercising. I traveled across the country with my family. When they moved here, we didn't take a plane, so I was just miserable. And I was like, okay, let me do something. Let me do this. And many years later, I actually stuck with it because, again, it was one of those things that because I'm a huge mover. As a kid, I danced apparently, but I don't know. I'm not a good dancer. It stuck. And so I've gotten to the point where now it's one of those things where I look back and I'm like, wow, I was actually pretty decent at this. Like I didn't try too hard and I was pretty decent at this. Maybe this is something I can double down on, which is again a huge business lesson as well. If you look back and you at all the things you tried and there was like one or two things that stick out, that's what you should double down on. You shouldn't have to worry about thinking of other things. Give that more attention. And breaking was that for me. It's fun, it's cool, and just like gym though, actually, you think you go to the gym because like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get ripped so like that my ex will like be jealous and all the girls will look at me. No, only the person that looks at you with other guys are gonna ask you what your routine is. And even with breaking, no one comes up to me and was like, whoa, that's sick. Like, how do you do that? I'm money because I'm just a sore thumb. I'm like I stick out because I'm just like in the corner. Well, some guys doing this. You see in the corner some guys just spinning around like a dreidel. So is I'm not trying to do it for those reasons. I think it is cool though, so I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for my moment where I can go viral on TikTok where someone's like, check out this guy, he's going crazy, and I'm just like, yeah, I got a headache and like my brain is shaking in my skull, but it was worth it. I'm waiting for that moment. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, for sure. Do you post your breaks and stuff on TikTok?
No, but we're gonna try to do that. My partner, she used to be a TikTok person, and she was actually pretty decent at it. So we're thinking about like just posting clips and she's editing it. We'll see where that goes. All of it is because we want to, and I think that's a good enough reason to start something, just because you think it'll be cool.
For sure. And like, you're doing all of these things. What does your day to day look like now that you quit your job, quit the internship, quit school? What do you do in a day to day?
Yeah, today's a good example. This morning I woke up really tired because when you're at home all the time, your sleep can get screwed up. But I'm working on that. And then I walked around in the morning for a few minutes before it was too cold to decide to go back inside. And then I just wrote. I wrote an email, my email for the day. I loaded some emails for my boss, aka the guy who's mentoring me. I call him my boss. He won't say he's my boss, but I know he is. Uh, and then I got on a call with one of the other people in the agency, and we just talked about my copy. And then I hung out with my partner after she finished school. We hung out for a couple hours. Now she is in class right now. We drove to the parking lot, and here I'm calling you. It's like this. It's just I wake up, right, hang out with my partner, maybe take a few calls. I'm gonna go to the gym after this, go home, and that's it. Every single day, I do that. That's the life I want to live every single day, except in my own place in the future, and being able to eat more food because now we're kind of budgeting, like I mentioned. But that's essentially what I'm doing right now. Is what I want to do every day of my life.
That's awesome, man. And are you making money doing what you're doing now?
Thankfully, yes, but I'm like I mentioned, I'm still like it's slower than I expected. I just made enough just to replace my part-time job. I know you're in the stage too. You're going crazy right now. By the way, shout out to Brent. She's working hard to make this happen. She's working like DoorDash. She's doing everything right now. So uh, I don't have as much at work ethic as you. I quit my part-time job when I could have just been doubling up because the part-time job wasn't that much as you because you work at Starbucks. That's like crazy to me. So at least you did. And so yeah, I'm making some money just enough to replace my part-time job, and I'm trying to eventually scale up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that is inspiring that you finally quit that. I know it was not very many hours a week, but it still sucks the life out of you sometimes. So
Yeah.
I'm happy for you on that one. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So to kind of wrap things up really quick, me and John could literally go all day if we wanted to. Um, what is one thought or memory that sits with you that you would like to leave with your audience?
Wow, that's such a good question, and I wasn't expecting that. Like, I kind of expected some of the other questions, but because I actually wrote down the Google Doc, by the way, I was like, oh yeah, let's talk about these things. I'm exposing you now. You exposed me about the X. I'm exposing you. But I did not expect this question. You should have told me this. I would have prepared an amazing answer and would have just dropped the mic. But I'll kind of be spontaneous about it now. One memory. This is not a specific memory, but rather a string of memories. Think about it like when you're watching a movie and you have that really awkward like dream sequence or like that flashback sequence. It just doesn't make sense until you realize it later in the movie. Almost every day, I would have these pockets in my life where I just kind of look around and it's like, is this really what I want to do? Like most of the time, the thoughts are about like my family say criticizes, my mom criticizes me about something, or like tries to get me to do things I don't want to do. Very rebellious to me as a kid, you know. I'm in that phase of my life, and I think I need to get out of here. Like I need to get out. I cannot stay here. It's those moments that gave me that keep me on the path. No matter how inconsistent I want, it's not gonna help me do the work actually, but it keeps me. It reminds me of like why I'm doing this. So that's like that happens pretty frequently, and chances are for whoever's watching this right now, and for you too, Bryn. I'm not talking just a random invisible person. I'm talking to you as well. There are these pockets of time where things are just quiet and something just happens and then you find yourself like in your head for like a moment and you're completely aware and you're like, is this it? Like, is this what I want to do? Like something needs to change. And those are the thoughts that kind of plague me and they taunt me every single day to keep doing what I need to do. Not just as a motivation thing, like, oh yeah, like get hard, like get after it. But like out of necessity, like my life almost like I need to do this. Like I cannot be stuck here forever. And so yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on here for a second time. I'm sure there will be a third time sometime in the future. Who knows?
Thank you, Bryn. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your
Absolutely.
time.
Thank you.